Hello, 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 everybody. It is so good to see all of your digital non-existent faces in the chat. Welcome, welcome, welcome to this installment of Transplanar RPG. It is Arc 3, Episode 12, also known as our mini-boss episode fight. Woot! Will I finally get my TBK? I feel like I say this every time there's going to be a boss fight, and I never get it, so hopefully that karma's building up and that auto-crit is on the table, so we will see who will use it. So I'm Connie. I am your GM and executive producer. My pronouns are they, he, and she. I do this thing behind Transplanar RPG. If you don't know what this is, thank you for tuning in. We are an all-transgender, people of color-led, 100% homebrew, Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition live-streamed actual play campaign set in a non-colonial, anti-orientalist world. You can find me on Twitter, Itch, and Patreon at by Connie-chan. Come check out my stuff and support me. And as a reminder, we do stream our D&D campaign Saturdays at 3 p.m. U.S. Central Time right here on Twitch. So if you're here, you're in the right place and we love you. With that, I'm going to pass along introductions to Lyra.
Hello everyone, my name's Lyra. I use they, she pronouns. I am a
What are
professional
you?
I'm a professional musician around the Twin Cities area. Hire me, please. I am also a ethnomusicologist linguist. I am the only person out of this entire group who ever advertises our Discord server. DM a mod for one of those links. Yeah, that's right, I said that. You can also check me out on Twitch. I haven't been streaming in literally like 84 years. But check me out at Rika Honda. It's Rika and Honda like the car company. With that, I'll pass introductions on to Erica.
Hi everybody, I'm Erica, she, her pronouns. I play Vinox Scherzel, a sorcerer elf who is a bit of a thief of your heart and your gold. And when I'm not doing that, you can find me here on Twitch actually at Erica New Girl. You can find me at all my social media platform. We like to do a variety of things. I've been playing a lot of Red Dead Redemption 2, which is easily becoming one of my favorite games ever. I actually did a cosplay for the first time this past week as Sadie Adler. Not to be like, about myself, but I did, I was tapped into my North Dakota roots. I felt like the cowgirl of my dreams because that's who Sadie Adler is to me. And with that awkward fact, I will pass it on to Max.
Hey, I'm Max. I go by they, them pronouns. I play Dewey Quirk, the man you got to learn a little bit more about in last week's Shoot Your One Shot, which thank you for coming and watching if you were there. You can find me doing sewing, mostly pride flag stuff, on Etsy at Stitchmonger, and also on Instagram at Stitchmonger. I will pass it to C.
Hey y'all, my name's C. I use they, them pronouns. I'm a dancer, digital artist, tabletop streamer, dungeon dramaturg, creative consultant. You can find me doing stuff on pi_sharp or on Twitter, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr at PySharpArt. I'm going to be opening my commission soon. I've been taking a bit of a medical hiatus, but I am very excited to be here doing stuff. Super hyped. I play Okahye, your local god taxi, one of several now, I think. So it'll be totally fine, right, Connie? Right, Connie? Won't it be fine?
I'm not sure about that, but before we get into main campaign stuff, I just want to give a big, ginormous thank you to our Patreon paragons. These are patrons pledged to our highest tier on Patreon, and we are so freaking grateful for your support every week. I just look at that list and my heart grows warm. So a big thank you to Abigail Rytel, Azura, Brooke Bright, Charles, Cora Eckert, Lex Slater, Moonflower T, Purple Mouse, and Risa. And as always, here's a special unique haiku to your dedication. To our Patreon paragons, this episode has a cat in it. I also want to point out that we do have a new command, which is !safety. This command allows you to pull up a viewable document of our cast's lines and veils. So this way you'll know what subjects may feasibly come up in our campaign and which, our campaign, we're aware that it can get pretty intense, right? But there are also some subjects that are our lines, which will definitely not come up in our campaign in any way, shape, or form, no matter how intense things get. So if you're ever like, are they gonna go there? Just use !safety, pull up that document and look at the stuff on our lines. If it's on there, we're not gonna go there. If it's not, we might. So prepare yourself for that. And with that, I'm gonna pass along more announcements to see about our podcast.
Oh, me. Good thing I just tabbed out. Yes, anyway, podcast, amazing. Arc 1 episodes 1 through 4 are now available in podcast form on Spotify, Apple Music, Podbean, wherever you get your podcasts. Those release every single Tuesday from Arc 1 onward. I am currently working on editing episode 5, so that will be up on Tuesday. But patrons do get early access to all those podcast episodes, as well as things like exclusive character sheets, Connie's GM notes, and the chance to have your tabletop OC cameo in this live stream. Patrons also get lots of other stuff, so use !patron in the chat to pull up a link to pledge today. And also, we have a lot of other really, really cool stuff going on. Specifically, we're working right now on Shoot Your One Shot, which is a series of 4 one-shots set in Andake, which is our non-colonial anti-orientalist D&D world. Every game features a different Transplanar PC and 3 to 4 BIMPOC guest stars, people who use the hashtag BIMPOC Shoot Your Shot tag and tagged us, which was amazing. We're so honored and so excited to get to play with these amazing folks. We've played 2 games so far, and we're gearing up for game number 3 this coming week on Wednesday, July 28th, with your good friend. A thrilling heist using Blades in the Dark featuring Scherzo, who teams up with an old criminal crew to steal a book from the Library of Dokao, the royal capital in the Kingdom of Toulon. And finally, the last one will be on August 4th, playing Mercy, Mercy Me, a dangerous rescue mission with me and the other Hounds of Mercy into the depths of a monster lair. We will be collecting tips throughout August that will be split evenly between us and our guest stars, so please consider paying these amazing BIMPOC queer, trans tabletop players. They have been so amazing. The last 2 one-shots were incredible, and lots of little Transplanar lore, so if you haven't watched it, go consider doing that. So use !one-shot in chat or !donate to contribute early to our tip jar. Erica, tell us more about other donation goals.
Yeah, you know, and we know that we love to thank people here at Transplanar for subbing, gift summing, cheering, hosting, rating, and these are all the people who did that during Arc 3, Episode 11, and for donating during our one-shot. Erica Newgirl, Key Squared, Moonflower T, Displacergeist, Fazman91, Pie Sharp, Risa Malima, Crude Imposter Nightbright, Kira Sarah, Scruffusus, Anonymous, and DM Steve. Moving on to this episode, we do have our 25 sub goal. 5 subs nets us a point of collective inspiration with a maximum of 3. 15 subs gets us an auto crit on the board that anyone can use, including our wonderful GM Connie. And 25 subs gets us the ultimate prize. One of the players has to monologue in character about the situation at hand. How wild is that? Max, you're here two weeks in a row. Can you do you remember what happened last week?
Vaguely, I think I was there. If you also have terrible memory like me, you can always go to the recap document, which has recaps from the very beginning of time, by using !recap in the chat or by going to bit.ly/transrecap. If you don't feel like reading right now, here's what happened last time, I think. Okavi and Manaia splash around in some dirty water as they follow Trenchfoot through the sewers. They're alerted to something sketchy going on when they're handed over to Ace, Cassius, and Priam, the Ratfolk man, and his Tidewolf bodyguards. They are ushered into a cistern where Quicksilver and an aquatic monster await. The team dispatches both quickly. Above ground, Dewey is up and at 'em, following Tonga into Clothar Jungle to chip off a chunk of a giant, powerful tablet for his watch. He runs into Sievert, of all people, who plans to haul the entire thing back to his group's base. Against all odds, Dewey manages to intimidate him off, saying the tablet's got too much energy to mess around with, and serving Sievert a tall glass of Respect Women juice. Oka, Manaia, and V find their way down the corridors until they come upon a scene of immense bloodshed. There are bodies littering the ground, and they hear the telltale sounds of Cain confronting Bloodthirst. This is going to go well. And I will pass it to Lyra.
Oh. Wait, if the podcast is released on Tuesday, does that mean it's coming up on a Tuesday?
Lyra, stick to the script. Okay? God damn it.
Okay.
Skip to the just go.
All right, well, moving on to the title of Arc 3, Episode 12. As always, the titles of our episodes are taken from poems or songs written by queer, trans, and or people of color. That's me. The title of this episode, Universe Refracted with Pain, is from the poem As If It Were Against Better Judgment, which is from Without Protection by Gala Mukumulova. And the full verse reads as follows. As if it were against better judgment, cold, dark, deep, and absolutely clear. The clear, gray, icy water. She was both woman and quartz, a universe refracted with pain and methadone.
Thank you, Lyra. And now moving on to the session itself. Transplanar RPG is set in a grim, dark, gritty fantasy world that deals with difficult subjects that are potentially triggering to some viewers. So with that in mind, some content warnings for our campaign, and particularly the session, may include fantasy violence, mass death, horror, gore, toxic and abusive relationships, guns, natural disasters, alcohol and substance use, addiction, death of loved ones, memory loss, emotional trauma and baggage, self-destructive behavior, bloodletting, cults and cult-like behavior, and anxiety and panic attacks described in detail. As a reminder, as always, use !CW in chat to get these content warnings, these most updated content warnings in chat. Please take care of yourself the way you need to. That out of the way, let's begin. The Great Throne Room of the Kusing Guild is a massive chamber, 150 feet deep, 80 feet wide, and well over 30 feet or 2 stories tall, with arched ceilings carved from the ribs of Raso's intricate sewer system. The stench of offal is reduced here. The guild's lord would not tolerate such a misdemeanor. Instead, the smell that dominates this chamber is death. Death and blood. The bodies of Kusing thugs are strewn about this tiled hall, their dead hands still gripping the hilts of short swords, battle axes, maces, crossbows. Blood runs from the clawed-out holes in each of their chests, wetting the ground with a crimson stream. The terrain here is peppered with signs of a brutal, one-sided battle. Scorch marks on the pillars that hold up the ceiling, missing chunks of floor, a shattered chandelier, torches ripped from their sconces left on the bloodied floor to smolder out and die. Looking impassively down at this scene of carnage are 2 handsome golden statues that flank either side of the arched entryway leading into this throne room. Both statues depict the same person, a short-haired Felis man with blood-red rubies for eyes. And then, on the other side of this great hall, at its very back 150 feet away from the statues, we see a dais. Elevated 15 feet off the ground at its highest point by a series of stone stairs draped in red velvet. Sitting upon this dais is a massive throne of bleach-white bone and teeth. And dueling next to this throne are Bloodthirst and Cain. Cain's midnight blue skin sparks with iridescent rage as they fling bolt after bolt of pure magical violence at Bloodthirst, but the Felis is fast, much faster than anticipated. He dodges to the right, rolling behind this massive throne of bones as a reddish-purple bolt smashes into the tile where he was just standing, gouging out a 5-foot chunk of pure rock. And Cain roars, "You took everything from me!" And we hear Bloodthirst's voice echoing around this chamber as he hides behind this throne. "You've always been so ungrateful, Cain. I gave you everything. A home when you were orphaned, a warm bed, clothing, food. A family when you had none, love when no one loved you. No, I wasn't a child. I was a spy. You made me, you made us do all the dirty work your other thugs couldn't. What kind of a childhood is spent sitting in on backroom deals, following murderers around the city, witnessing death and corruption and depravity? I prepared you for Raso. No, you prepared me to serve. And when I came of age, when we all came of age, Bloodthirst, you made us fight. And Cain flings another bolt of power at the throne, and poof, pieces of bone go flying. You made us fight each other for your favor. You made us kill each other for your so-called love. And now Bloodthirst steps out from behind the throne and into a circle of flickering light cast by a nearby torch. And now we see him in his entirety. The criminal leader of the Kusing Guild, the man who casts such a long shadow over so many people's pasts, Bloodthirst. A felis, 4 feet tall, with obsidian fur short, blood-red eyes, and a prosthetic tail made of flexible black wood. The prosthetic is segmented to allow for a fluid range of movement, and a glowing red gem is embedded into its tip. I don't want to fight you, Cain. You look like you're in pain, my child. I want to help you. You're all grown up now, but Bloodthirst knows the truth. You'll always be the same small, scared orphan, abandoned on my doorstep. Let me help you. And Bloodthirst extends a paw. And that's when the 3 of you arrive. Oka, Manaia, and V. You stride forward into this great hall, coming to a stop in front of the massive golden statues that flank the entryway as you take in this scene of carnage. You see Cain, 150 feet away, standing on the raised dais in front of Bloodthirst, whose paw is extended toward his protege. And you see bodies everywhere, so many bodies and so much blood. What do the 3 of you do?
God, I was so fucking stressed out. I think Oka is probably the first one into the chamber. They were like booking it down that outside corridor, and they like do they have to burst through a door, or the door is just already open?
There are no doors. It's just sort of like an archway, right? And you walked over a bridge, down a hallway, and now this archway widens to show this massive hall.
Oh, I did not walk, I sprinted. But here we are, having sprinted. Oka kind of like skids to a stop just underneath the archway. And they just shout, Cain!
Cain turns, right? And you see like their eyes are wide and there's something wrong with their face. It keeps flickering, right? Between like the freckled, like tanned visage of Scott and like the purple, right, skinned with like a broken horn, a face of Nectus, like holographic images superimposing themselves on top of each other, like meshing in and out of existence. Roll insight.
It was a 3, but a 10 total.
Oh, you have a +7 insight, but you got a 3. That's not great. You can ask a question about either Cain or Bloodthirst in this moment as you watch this showdown, but not both.
How long does Cain have before it gets to the point where Ravi, like similarly to the point where Ravi was dying? Like how long does Cain have until Scott and Nectus actually start pulling them apart?
Cain seems to be driven by like a single-minded desire to kill or like confront Bloodthirst somehow, and that's like the thing powering them through like the boundaries of human ability, right? Or tiefling ability in this case. So you figure once this confrontation's over, Cain might get a right? Like if they lose this momentum, it's like this encounter and that's it. Right? And they're gonna lose the momentum. Or if they lose the momentum in some other way, then they're done. They're finished.
Oga had paused for a second, but they unsheath motherfucking Dream Hunter again, finally. And they turn their attention back toward Bloodthirst. You get the fuck away from them.
Ah. The three of you are late. And I thought there was a fourth, but I suppose not. Oka? And the rest of you, what are you doing here? No, stop! Go away, this is my fight!
This isn't just your fight, Cain. Not anymore.
Manaia and V, how are the two of you responding as Oka steps forward?
V, you're quicker than Manaia, so if you want to do something first.
I think V's gonna sort of like come to an abrupt halt seeing Cain / Scott / Nectus. Takes a deep breath, just like there's some anxiety about what happened last time V encountered Scott and Nectus. And after taking a moment, she's going to straighten her back up and she's going to start undoing her vest and taking it off and throwing it to the side and getting ready to maybe go run or do something silly.
Okay. All right, you toss your vest off. It falls into like a bloodied pool, right? And like you watch as the fabric like sinks in like to like the blood that's all around you, these like felled bodies, and you take a battle ready stance. Manaia?
Manaia pulls up like the baby. And apologies. And she pulls up behind you two. And you hear a gasp and a hint of a whimper as the flash of the death-ridden carnival flashes across her eyes. But she steels herself. And she starts whispering directions. Right, Oki, lead the charge. V, left. Me, right. Get behind the pillows for cover. Try not to trip on anyone.
Yeah, Oka is just fucking marching down the center hall, just like the grip, their like knuckles are turning white against the hilt of Dream Hunter.
Okay. As the three of you charge forward, Bloodthirst goes, I don't think so. Like I said, this fight is between me and my protege, so if you don't mind, I'd like it if the three of you left us alone.
Fat fucking chance. Cain.
Oka, it hurts. I don't know what's happening to me. The only thing I can focus on is Bloodthirst. I just need to kill Bloodthirst. And you see like Cain's like chest heaving and they're like stretching out their like midnight blue hand that you see at the top is beginning to decay. Like the tips of their fingers are beginning to sort of like wither and like turn like almost like black. As like this. That. Oh yeah, sure, totally. Then what about it are you X-carding? Can I still like describe Cain like losing control of their body in some way?
The fingers are.
Okay, cool. Then in that case, you see like Cain like reach out their hand, you know, which is like shaking, you know, the tips of their fingers are trembling. And you see that they're starting to disappear. Like the fingers are starting to just maybe like turn into smoke and just almost like Thanos dust, right? Like snap, like disappear just a little, right? Not a lot yet. But like I told you, Oka, the thing that seems to be tethering Cain to the now is their single-minded motivation to attack and kill Bloodthirst. And now that you've come in and distracted them, they're losing their grip on that focus. Okay? And Bloodthirst just shouts out, I didn't want to do this, but you leave me no choice. And they whip their tail, and like the gem embedded in the tip of their prosthetic glows, and crimson light just erupts from this point and washes over the entire like hall, right? So it's like you're underneath the light of like a blood star, right? As just pure red light just like illuminates everything. Like Manaia, you see like your brown skin now mottled with like a red hue, like Oka, you as well. And V, looking down, you look like you've been dipped in red paint. And then the three of you feel the weave around you swirl and tighten like strings of like a puppeteer as every single corpse in this room begins to rise, gripping the hilts of their swords as Bloodthirst summons them back from the dead. Roll initiative.
Well, that's not what I was expecting.
Roll initiative. Tell me what you get.
Tell me how I rolled two threes in a row. That's not right. That's just not right.
Nat 20 plus 3 for 23.
8 for Manaia.
Okay, 8 for Manaia.
6 total.
Are you sure, Manaia and Oka, we have 3 points of collective inspiration. I know you asked me not to keep reminding you of that, but this is a initiative roll, so it's up to you.
And assuming we're using our newer sort of type of combat, it would make sense for Oka to go first. If we're all like going at the same time and then...
Totally. So Oka, would you like to use a point of collective?
No, it's okay.
Okay. So first to go will be V. You've cast off your vest, and I think there's like 20 goons in here, right? They're all just like rising, right? Like some of them are like heaving like crossbows back up into their dead hands. Like others are like lifting short swords or like the hilts of like battle axes or maces. What do you do?
I think V is going to see all this happening. Turn back to Cain / Scott / Nectus and be like, Scott, Nectus, I've got a heart for you right here. And she's going to turn to like a corner of the room that all these things are coming from and cast a level 5 fireball to take out some of these creatures coming back to life.
Okay, what is the radius of fireball?
20 feet. Yeah, 20 foot radius.
Okay, that's pretty...
And I'll put it like against the walls, like to confine it a little bit, but
Okay. Let's say that will catch maybe like 5 of these goons straight up, like inside of the radius of this fireball. So that is a save, right?
Yep. So they are dexterity saving against the 15.
Okay.
And then since I cast that as level 5, that is add 2 more. Wait, where's... So 10d6. Got it.
Okay, they all failed, so why don't you roll damage of 10d6? My god.
All right. Hold on here.
You could also use a dice roller if it's like way too many to roll by hand.
Just like roll 2 and multiply it by 5 or something.
I'm going to use a sorcery point to use that empowered spell. So I'm going to re-roll up to my charisma modifier, which is 3. I'm re-rolling 3 here. And I have to use those.
Oh my god.
Hold on. Just a couple more. 33 points of fire damage.
Rutro, okay, yeah, you absolutely obliterate, like, I think they're still rising, right? These, like, 5 corpses. What does it look like as you cast Fireball?
Yeah, so she's, like, V yells this over to those, to there, and almost like, she yells it, and then there's, like, a moment of force where, like, it turns her back, and she just, like, fires her arm at the, like, an empty corner of the room, and just massive explosion. Creatures fly all over the room, and anything that was in that corner is just incinerated, leaving nothing but charred black walls and floor.
Absolutely. You 100% just completely incinerate and obliterate that area. And I think the corpses are like just they're charred bone. You know, there's like nothing left behind. It's just poof, and like you see like these bones like crumple to the ground as just like poof, just like these black scorch marks just erupt outward from where this balloon of fire just exploded into existence from where you thrust out your hand. Okay. And I think it made like a massive exploding noise as well, right? So like Oka and Manaia, the two of you like feel like this like heat wave like buffet you as V just bam casts the biggest fire spell you've ever seen her cast like since traveling with her over these few months, right? And V, is there anything else you do?
I think she's just gonna turn back to Scott Nectus / Cain and just almost as if you could see the fire burning in her Kelly green eyes. And that'll be the end of her turn.
All right, you're gonna use your speed to like run up to, like run straight toward that dais, right? Or is that what you said? Or are you standing there?
I'll just stand there for right now.
Okay, sounds good.
I'll stay in my spot.
All right, great. You're still about 150, 120 feet away, right, at this point. So next up are going to be several of these, like shambling armed corpses. There's quite a few around where you are, Manaia, because you darted off to, like, the left, right? And you directed Oka to go straight and V to go right? Or was it, like, swapped with you and V? Okay, so V to go left and you to go right. So as you veer to the right, you see like a group of these goons, right, holding short swords, axes, much smaller than your own, but axes nonetheless, and like these spiked clubs and maces. They turn to you and they're all gonna just go, and like they're like 5 of these like shambling corpses are gonna attack you, and they're gonna hit you for 25 points of bludgeoning damage total, as they just all of them just pile into you. Liar, if you're trying to say something, you're muted.
I said they're gonna try to hit. I gotta grab my pencil, hang on. Back. 25, you said?
25 points of damage, yes.
Okay, I'll get that in this moment. Ouch, that hurt.
Are you okay?
Ah! I have to grab my pencil. I don't know where it went. I'll grab it later.
Okay. Why did you say they try to hit? Do you have like a reaction that you can take?
I mean, no, but I have 15 AC.
No, they hit. All 5 of them. They just bam! They like bludgeon into you. Like it's like 25 points of damage total, but let's say it's like dispersed between piercing, bludgeoning, and slashing damage, right? As like clubs come down, like one of them just straight up like tries to deck you with a spiked gauntlet, and another one like slams you like under the ribs, cuffs you with like a spiked mace, right? And now you're like running through them, and their eyes, they don't look alive, they look like zombies, right? Like their eyes are sort of like dead and like milky white, and they're like reaching for you with these like weapons swinging in their hands. And next is going to be you, Manaia, as you're in the midst of these like 5 like grabbing corpses.
If they're all around me, not quite. Manaia is going to, just like with the tentacle monsters from earlier, she's going to use Thunderwave. And I'm gonna reflavor it just a little bit because I came up with a cooler way. So her axe is put away right now, and she reaches out with her hands, like to either side. I can't do it with this constrained camera, but and all at once she clasps her hands together, and all of the air around her and all of the zombies around her gets sucked in and compresses instantly, almost like where she is like a vacuum and all the air is rushing in, but instead of rushing in to fill in a space, it's rushing together to compress. And all at once, she claps, and the compressed air amplifies? Is that the word? Amplifies the sound, 30-fold, and the shock wave and the air bursting out as the spell ends is going to cause all the zombies to make a strength saving throw.
Okay, versus what?
Versus 13.
Okay, they fail. What happens?
I'm casting this at like 3rd level, so they
Okay.
take 4d8. I'm gonna say bludgeoning damage, just
Okay.
because it's like physical.
Do you get to decide the kind of damage?
It's technically supposed to be thunder damage because thunder wave is like a sound thing, but I'm reflavoring Manaia entirely.
Okay.
And all of this
I'm gonna
stuff.
be kind of a rules lawyer about this. I'm gonna say we're gonna have to stick with thunder damage because of like
Okay.
the kinds of resistances and immunities that certain creature types might have. They
Okay.
don't have it, but just like in terms of flavor, it can look like bludgeoning, but for like mechanical reasons, let's like continue to call it thunder.
Okay.
But okay, yeah, roll damage on these 5 pitiful zombies.
Well,
Yeah, you kill all 5 of them. So what does
yeah.
it look like as you just like fling their like limp dead bodies like all over this great hall?
Manaia does like a Hulk clap thing, and they all just go flying away from her in all directions. All of their bones and like different body parts that have been mangled together just fly apart as they get slammed into the walls and the pillar, and yeah. Bye-bye.
Okay, totally. Yeah, boosh, 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 boosh. Maybe like one even like flies like over your head, Oka. It goes soaring as you're like running straight down, like down the middle of this hallway, as you just hear this massive like thunderclap noise and just this wave of force like sweep out from like Manaia and bam, 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 like bludgeon all these bodies, right? Manaia, is that your turn?
It is.
Okay. Are you continuing to move forward? Are you like continuing to run?
Yeah, she's gonna keep running forward, and yell towards Oka and V. Actually, I forgot to do this. And she's gonna say, "I'll take care of the corpses. Oka to Bloodthirst, V to Cain. Get those gods you deserve."
Oka and V, how did the two of you respond?
Oka is grim-faced and thinking very hard. They haven't really been running. They've just been walking, like, with purpose, you know, but, like, with a lot of fucking purpose.
I think just looking at Cain/God Nectus and just being like, I just the calculating, like you just practically see the numbers and equations around her head as she's thinking very hard about her next move.
Okay, Manaia, as you continue striding forward, you are going to be running. Basically, there's like just so many fallen soldiers here. They're just sort of like covering, you know, blocking all 3 of your way toward the dais. So if you're going to continue to move, I'm going to say that a group of another 5 of them are going to have an attack of opportunity against you, unless you stay put.
I'm not gonna run past any of them, but I will run up to any of them that are in my way.
Awesome. So you're just going to get within melee of like another group of 5. Okay, wonderful. So they won't have an attack of opportunity. Next is going to be Oka in front of you. You see just like a wall of these like risen corpses, right? Like holding up like crossbows and like these like scimitars and these like these spiked clubs, you know, wooden clubs with like iron like bits like and glass shards embedded inside, real vicious implements. And they're gonna like swing and attack you. So they are also just gonna hit you for also 25 points of damage total, as like 5 of them just come bearing down on you.
I would like to use my parry, which is a feature of Culling Edge. So Oka has Dream Hunter in one hand and their Culling Edge active in the same hand. And they like raise the blade to like block and parry some of these blows as they just like move and cut their way through, which means that I am going to roll my superiority dice, which is a d6. And that is a 4 plus my dex, which is 3, so
7?
Yes, 7. 25 minus 7 points of damage, I suppose. Whatever that is. I can't do math.
That's 18. So you're only going to be taking 18 points of damage as you like cut and weave your way like through this like fleet, this gang of like risen thugs, right? And like you're using your culling edge to like describe to me what it looks like as these like flurry of blows come raining down on you and you parry quite a few of them.
Yeah, and I actually all of my temporary hit points from false life also absorb a good amount of that. So as Oka like, you know, they will like blood hunt, like parry these just like hot like sparks will go like off one side as they like duck out of the other way. And the like sometimes like they get hit, but they don't even bleed. It just kind of like brushes off of them as they like are just like moving forward, bobbing. And then, you know, like there are a few moments where they do take a little bit of damage, but they just like are trying to burst their way through.
Awesome. Very cool description. Why don't you take a point of inspiration for that? As you like parry and like duck and like move and weave your way through these goons, these undead goons trying to attack you. And now it's going to be your turn, Oka, which I think makes a lot of sense. What do you do?
Well, how many of them are still standing? I guess I didn't hurt any of them necessarily. I've just been parrying through them. Well, let's see here. Two things. Oka, you know, as they like all of this, like all these things, right? All these fucking obstacles are starting to really fucking piss them off. This whole situation as they like block again. It's like one solid movement, like down with Dream Hunter, and they can feel the blade, and they like feel it in their hand, and they're like, what is it you said? Slay the wicked. And they are going to start raging. And I'm going to use my Radiant Soul in the same moment. So like all of a sudden, just this like, these like two huge wings that are not, they're not the same electricity wings anymore because Menasha's not piloting my body right now. But these huge wings like just like burst right out of Oka's back. As they also like just the rage like overtakes them, and they just like beat up into the air like as fast as they can, and they turn back. Well, I mean, are they provoking an attack of opportunity here?
I think one of the goons is just gonna like reach up with like a clawed gauntlet and try to get you. What's your AC?
15.
They don't make it through. So what does it look like as they like, does it just bounce off of this like radiance, like emanating off of your body, or do you like kick them off, or do you weave out of the way?
I think Oka just like slams their foot down, you know, just like kicks their hand away as they just go up into the air, mostly out of range of those assholes. And they turn to V, like just slightly over their shoulder. Trust me. Just trust me on this one. And they turn back to Cain and Bloodthirst. Cain, fight me.
You're trying to taunt and provoke Cain into turning away from the one thing that's still keeping them focused and tethered to the material plane to the now, and turn and fight you instead?
Yeah, more time.
Okay, that is gonna be an intimidation check. Because I usually just let it work, but there's a lot of factors here. So roll intimidation. Oh boy. What is that? Is that a nat 1? That looks like a nat 1 temple squeeze. What is it?
Oh, don't worry. That was just another 3. -2, so 1. Unnatural. I'll go ahead and use my own personal inspiration real quick, though.
That 3 3s in a row?
Oh, surprise, it was a 4 this time.
Wow,
Two.
Your dice are like 3 3 4. That's some sort of violence against you. Okay, as you shout this out toward Cain just sort of like, their head doesn't turn, but you see a face swivel and like superimpose itself over like their left cheek and look out, and you see just sort of like Scott's visage like beaming like off the surface of Cain's skin, like like I mentioned earlier, like a holographic, staticky, flickering image. And you just hear Scott's voice go, "What is that? What are you? The enemy?" And as your wings like splay out, Manaia and V and Oka, I think you're aware of this dimly. You see like as these like feathers like poof, poof, on either side of your shoulder blade, you see like these eyes like wink open. As you feel like You haven't felt this in an arc, right? In a long time. But this like dark tendril of whatever seed or creature had been inhabiting, right? The what would we call them? Memory flare?
Hydra flare.
The Hydra flare seems to like jerk awake at like the explosion of rage and divine energy out of your body. And Scott's, like eyes are like just brown eyes are locked onto you, Oka. You can just feel this just like beam of like disgust and a little bit of fear as Scott refuses to engage with you, right? As like it seems to be shielding Cain away from this distraction. And Oka, because of your failed roll, I need you to make an intelligence saving throw.
Fuck. I'm pretty good at those too. 18, 19, 20. 26.
Okay. You feel this dark presence, and Manaia and V, you see these like 4 or 5 or 6, 8 eyes spring open on Oka's wings as like this like golden black corruption starts to spiderweb and vein out from like the edges of the eyes and like start to like turn Oka's wings from like white to black and gold. But Oka, tell me how you like beat back this corruption that starts like spreading out from your soul.
King of repression over here. I think it is through sheer force of fucking will, right? Like stubborn bastard energy. That and a little bit of Vanache, which just like crackles out. And swallows it almost with like the next beat of wings.
Okay, I really like that. Is that the end of your turn, Oka?
I'm gonna fly forward toward Cain, and I'll use my full speed and movement to do that above the rest below me.
Okay, sounds good. You glide through the air, right? Like the wind like rushing at you. You can feel as you're up in the air like the gurgling of water in like pipes that are like embedded in like the walls around you, right? You look down at all of these like shambling corpses at Manaia with like an army of like fallen bodies around from where she cast Thunderwave and this like big scorched area right to the right where V had just cast Fireball, and you dive and like a bird of prey, you soar toward the object of your enmity. And before anything else happens, I think the camera like pans up.
Speaking of birds of prey, the camera like pans up like through like various layers of like coiled cement and like dirt, and we see like little like tunnels where like rats are like moving through, like a side view up through like through dirt and bones and like a layer of grass, and up to you, Dewey. Where you and Tonga are standing by the Stormfang Treaty with that pit in the ground behind you, and this waterfall, maybe like 30 feet above you, with this massive like half pipe cut open, this drainage pipe from the sewers, and you hear Oka and Manaia and V, and you hear just like an echoing of like Cain and like a voice you haven't heard in many, many years. Bloodthirst's like low predatory growl, and the clashing of steel, and like the sound of what seems to be a fiery explosion, right? And like a poof, like a thunderous wave of force as well. What do you do, Dewey?
Is this pipe open to the outside?
Yes.
I think Dewey kind of like peers around the corner into the tunnel with a little bit of disgust, but also he knows those sounds way too well. So he's gonna like, I guess, step in very carefully, avoiding gross things on the ground.
Okay, it is 30 feet above you, so do you fly up there?
Yeah. I'll fly up there and drop a rope down if Tonga wants to come.
Okay, you, in a flutter of dirty gray wings, You get up there and you land right next to like the opening of this drainage pipe, and just this disgusting smell, right, like radiates outward. Ugh, and like this gross liquid like sloughing over these like moss covered like rocks. See a little crayfish like being borne down the stream, like all the way down, like down this hill. You toss a rope down to Tonga, who says, I'll be there in just a second, Cardew. What are those noises? What's going on? What's happening?
Cain and Bloodthirst? And also the other three?
What?
I don't know if
no.
they're... I think they're fighting.
Oh boy. Oh. And Tonga like heaves herself like onto like the very top, and she's like sweating a little. She goes, it sounds like your friends found what they were looking for. What should we do? Should we go help them?
I guess. I have to go see Bloodthirst. Either way.
Cardew. And Tonga like rests like a gloved hand on your feathered shoulder. Cardew, I think we should go as well to help out the others, but I don't want you to do anything rash by seeing Bloodthirst again. I've had to coexist with that asshole for years and years and years here in Raso. He's untouchable, Cardew. He's too powerful.
And I have nothing to lose. I don't need to maintain favor with him.
That's not true, Cardew. You have me and your friends, and don't you still have your family?
I mean, that's... I need answers from him.
Okay, but don't do anything too rash, Cardew. I can't lose you too.
I'm not gonna... I'm sticking around.
Okay, here, put this on. And she hands you like a mask, like a that can go over your beak, like a little gas mask to like go through the disgusting
Like
sewers.
The Plague Doctor ones?
Yes. Oh my God. Yes, like a long beak with like a little pouch for herbs, like at the very top. Here.
When did you make this?
While you were fighting that Dragonborn guy.
Oh gosh.
I've just. I've got a little pouch of tools.
You are incredible.
Thank you. Let's go. There's no time to waste.
And then Dewey puts his mask on, and you hear like, "Okay, let's go."
Tonga also puts on like a more like human, right, mask and fits it over like her lower jaw, and like there's like these two like little like filters that she like toggles a switch, and the two of you crouch down, and you start sloughing your way through the sewer pipe. And I think as you continue to go, like the light leaves you behind, right? Everything gets darker. Tonga like lights up like a little like hand flare, like a little torch, right? So like she holds it forward, and you see like spiders just like skittering like along the rounded edges of the tunnel around you. You see like little fish like swimming in this disgusting water, right? You go down, you go left, you're following like the sound of like fighting and battle, right? Until like eventually the outside is but a memory, and all around you are just these like cement, right? Like tunnels, and like the sound of rushing water, and the smell of gross stuff, right? And the sound of your like boots splashing right through the surf. Until you finally arrive at a grill, like a portcullis almost, but not so big as a portcullis, more like a sewer grill, right? And you look out down into the Great Hall. And Dewey, you're like now you're there, but you're like tiny little bird face, right, all the way up, and like to the left, right, and down you see like Oka. Literally, you see Oka fly past, right, like wings with like these like gold black eyes open, like veining, trying to like take over Oka, but like Oka's radiance is still beating it back, like on the backs of their wings. You see like Manaia, you see V, you see Bloodthirst, Cain, and all the blood and the corpses. And now Dewey, it's your turn. Why don't you roll initiative for me?
All right. 9.
Okay, we'll slot you in at the very end, at the end of this round, and then we'll slot you in with your 9.
Okay.
Okay, what do you do, Dewey?
Does this grate look like it'll open?
Uh,
Is it
it loo-
bolted down anywhere? Or
It
like...
looks pretty bolted down, but if you've got your tools, you can try to tinker it open for your round.
Uh-huh. Okay, I'm gonna start undoing the bolts and keep an eye and try and see if either Cain or Bloodthirst steps underneath my hidey hole.
Oh my god. Okay, you're kind of in the middle of the hallway, right? You're like 75 feet or whatever away from the dais, so it's very unlikely they would step
Okay.
right underneath you. Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm. You're sort of like perpendicular to it. So why don't you make a sleight of hand check with advantage since you're using your artificer's tools?
Good. Did I have advantage? Nope. Okay, I'm also rolling 3s and 4s.
Oh my god, what is happening?
10.
Okay, with a 10, it's gonna take you your entire round, your entire turn here to like get it open. And at the top of your next turn, it'll like the grate will pop open.
Yeah, I'm sure they're rusted.
Yeah, definitely. As you like describe to me what it looks like as you start to like open up this grate.
I'm trying to like I got like a wrench and I'm trying to unscrew them, but they kind of just like crumble off. And so I just start smacking them with my Wait, no, that's too loud. That's too loud.
Tonga walks up with some WD-40.
Yeah. Here, let me help you, Cardew.
When did you make this?
While the Dragonborn guy was in the pit.
Oh my god.
Okay. I invented the concept of compressed air.
Compressing air.
I know. Okay, is that your turn, Cardew?
I think so.
Okay, cool. We're gonna now go to Cain and Bloodthirst. What's happening with them? All four of you can see just the boosh, 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 as Cain is just like firing bolt after bolt after bolt at like Bloodthirst is like on the attack, right? But Bloodthirst is either ducking and weaving, or you see like this final huge bolt come from Cain. Bloodthirst whips around with like his prosthetic tail. The gem glows and boosh, like this crimson, like translucent shield is projected in front of them, and the bolt from Cain actually bounces off. And I need the four of you to pick a number between 1 and 4. Okay, 2 for Manaia, 4 for Oka, 3 for V, 1 for Cardew. Cardew! Dewey, make a dex save with advantage because you have cover from the grate.
I get a feeling I know how the grate opens now, though.
That's a nat 20. Fuck you.
Okay.
Always throwing me under the bus. 22.
Do you want to roll it again? If you get 2 nat 20s, I'll give you something amazing.
Okay, Pathfinder.
No.
Okay, great.
Let's go with the 20.
So you see this bolt of like reddish purplish energy just like bounce off of this shield and come ricocheting upward like at you. How do you like dodge it or like even like deflect it or something? Because with a nat 20, you could do something kick-ass.
I think I've just about broken off the last screw, and as I like kick the grate out, it hits the bolt in midair. And then it like the grate just kind of also crumbles, so it's not like, a heavy chunk of metal falling onto my friend.
Just into grates.
Yeah.
Okay, Manaia, I need you to make a death saving throw. Okay.
Yeah, it just hits perfectly right in the air, and then the grate crumbles, and it goes flying back towards the dais.
You. So is this a fucking ping pong match, Dewey? Is this a fucking... Is that what you mean by your nat 20? You know what? I'll freaking allow it. Make a ranged attack roll with the grate because you got a nat 20.
God.
Use your dex modifier.
19.
Stop laughing, C. Who are you trying to hit, Cain or Bloodthirst?
I don't know that I... Oh, God. I want to knock out Cain.
Cain, okay. With a 19 that does hit Cain, roll damage. Roll the damage you'd use with your like bow if you have it.
Okay. God, everyone else rolls multiple dice, and I just roll 1d8. That's 4 damage.
Okay, four points of, let's say, bludgeoning damage. As pew, this bolt ricochets off this crimson shield as the grate pops off, and poosh, by the bolt colliding with the grate like starts spinning wildly through the air, right? Poof, and it smacks against Cain. Right, just smacks into like their shoulder and like pings off and starts like like tumbling down the stairs. The physics make sense in my head. They don't have to make sense in yours, but as long as they make sense in mine, it works. And Cain just says, "What the?" and like looks up and sees you. Okay? So that is the end of Bloodthirst and Cain's duel, right? But Bloodthirst is gonna say, Cain, it doesn't have to be this way. You were always my favorite. It's not too late. Your favorite? That's how you do it, isn't it? You pit us against each other. You make us vie for your favor. Always dividing and conquering so we'd never join forces and rise up against you. It took me so long to realize that the way you treated me was wrong. So wrong and broken, Bloodthirst. It took the carnival. It took me reliving my worst memories when you made me kill my brother. And so dramatic. Bloodthirst just sort of scoffs and like lowers like his tail. Like this crimson shield powers down. And he says, "The weak die off. The strong survive. That's the way it is in Raso. That's the way it always has been. And that's the way it always will be. I know pain more than you. You think you know suffering, brat? I'll show you suffering." And Bloodthirst lunges forward, like the tip of their tail, like striking almost like a scorpion's tip, right? As they, and like Bloodthirst and like Cain like collide in midair, and there's like this like huge like light explosion as they continue fighting. So now we're gonna go back to the top of the order with V.
Oh gosh. So I assume there's a bunch of creatures still between me and these now Cain and Bloodthirst fighting at the front.
With Oka, Manaia, and your combined forces, you've reduced the goons by like half or so.
Okay. I think then I will just go ahead and dimension door to the front of the room, or to where the Cain and Bloodthirst are fighting.
Okay, as you cast Dimension Door, what does it look like?
I think V is just gonna keep looking at what's going on and see that there still are threats in front of her, and she's just gonna, and she hears the conversation that just happened, and I think actually V is starting to feel just like about Cain a couple of feels, and so actually her heart is changing slightly of what she was going to do, but she then just sort of glows in Kelly green like real briefly, and just real flash you see this flash to the front of the room, and there's V standing as if she's been always standing in that spot, looking up at this like just a few feet in front of her, this chaos between Cain and Bloodthirst.
Okay, before that happens, all three of you see V wink out of existence, and in that split second, Bloodthirst goes, "I don't think so," and whips their tail. The gem lights up as he counterspells. He counterspells your Dimension Door.
I'm sorry. What?
We're allowed to do that?
We're 10th level now, baby. There's gotta be counterspells. There's gotta be other like mage and spellcasters. So how I like to do counterspell is V. Because you've Dimension Doored, you've snapped out of existence for just a split second, I need you to make a charisma save.
Ooh, at least it's charisma. I will use a piece of personal inspiration.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the first roll because that was a nat 1. So let's see, hold on. 12.
Okay. I think what that means is you do Dimension Door, but the distance is halved, right? And I think it's not on the ground. You're like, I think you collide in midair with Oka. Bing! And maybe like you fall onto Oka's back. right? As you blink into existence above them and you hold on. So Oka, I need you to make a acrobatics check.
22. I'd actually like to, if I see V coming, like grab and swing acrobatic style, very carnival-esque here.
I think that does happen. So Oka, you grab onto V, this like puff of like green light like explodes above your head. Hold on to like V's, what part? Like hands?
Hands.
Okay, you grab onto V's hand and like there's like a moment where like both of you swing like a pendulum, right? And then V, you're now like kicking in midair. What do you do? About halfway to the dais.
Yeah, I guess, well, I mean, I used an action, so I don't have much left except to, like, just look up at Oka and be like, and look down. Can I like, see, what's exactly below me? How far up am I? I've got so many questions.
Oka, how far up are you?
Oka's flying mid, so probably 15 to 20 feet above the ground.
Totally. Okay, you're about 15, 20 feet above the ground, and there's just like at least 10 other like zombies, right? Just like below you. And like looking down, V, why don't you make a perception check for me?
Sure. 16?
Okay. You see, sort of off to your left, almost obscured in shadow, like in the dark gaps between two lit sconces, you see a portcullis. And you hear something beyond it, right? It's like sort of masked by the sound of battle, but as you have a moment of zen up there, you hear a sort of noise. And you also, yes, see?
Right, just that sort of very normal noise.
Yeah, just a very normal noise.
Dewey, what happened to you?
Dewey starts choking on a chicken bone. Sorry, you're a vegetarian. On a vegetable bone. Fee, you also hear behind you, from the entranceway, the corridor, you hear voices like very faintly behind you that sound like Rev, Dr. Aluso, Talat, and Xiaohu. The rear guard is on their way here. What do you do, V, with this information?
I think V is gonna shout to Oka and Manaia, we've got a lot of company and some of it is good and some of it is very bad sounding.
Oka is like sweating. I think they're like, the grip is strong, but it's slick with like blood sweat. V, what the fuck is wrong with you? As like they catch you, you know? What? And then they look around, but they are focused somewhere like behind their mind and are a little discombobulated besides what they're doing. So unless, but I'm gonna keep flying you toward the dais.
Yeah, looking at all my options, V is just gonna like, don't let go, and she's gonna just hold on as tight as she can while they fly towards the dais.
Okay, is that the end of your turn?
Yeah.
Okay. V, it's weird when you were counterspelled. You like felt like the weave like sort of snap, right? Like rubber strings or guitar strings being like cut and just sort of lash back against you. So it was kind of like painful, like these iron strings slapping back against your soul. And I saw like Lyra make like a ooh like expression because like I feel like you as a musician know exactly what that feels like, and it's horrible. It's such an awful feeling.
Hurts.
It does. So that's what your soul sort of feels like right now, V. It's sort of like it's got these red welts raising along the soft skin of your soul. Next up is gonna be a Monstimu, as I think the corpses that were sort of like just shambling along. Manaia, you said you got within melee of like another group, right? They're gonna pile onto you. All 5 of them just attack you, right? They like, cause you're so big, they just sort of like latch onto you and they're gonna push, pummel and try to like hit you with these axes, these swords, like these whips, these maces, for 22 points of damage total. That's all 5 of them combined.
I'm officially under half.
Okay.
4th edition, I would be bleeding.
Are you bleeding, Manaia?
Oh, profusely.
Okay. Just you're so
that's
badass.
My job.
And now it is going to be Dewey's turn because you got a 9 on your initiative.
I'm still up in the tunnel hidey hole.
Up in the tunnel, yes, up in the tunnel, hidey hole. I don't think anyone but Cain noticed you.
Do I see the rear guard coming in?
I think now that V has shouted it, you can hear the noise of like Dr. Luso et al. Approaching.
I think I'm just gonna hop out of the tunnel and right behind like my teammates.
Okay. Dewey, as you start to hop out, Tanka says, "Be careful," and you splay your wings, right? I'm assuming, or do you just fall?
I fall until like I'm a little bit off the ground, and then I slow down really quickly.
Flutter, 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 and you drop. And Oka, Manaia, and V, the three of you see Dewey emerge from a hole in the wall and drop onto the ground. This is the first time you've seen him since he was comatose. How do the three of you respond?
Big smile goes across Manaia's face as she goes, Dewey!
I think V is just like holding on so tight. That's just like, it's Dewey, but like you can't even hear it because she's not a very strong person, so she's just like gripping with every ounce of her life.
Yeah, I think there's like lightning and shadow and like speed and wind flying past Oka's face, so I don't know if they actually see or comprehend the presence of Dewey yet.
Okay, sounds good. You're too overstimulated. All right. Dewey, what do you do?
I nodded and acknowledged Manaia, and I'm going to start making my way up to Bloodthirst.
Okay.
Just
Manaiia
marching.
encourages you.
Yeah, marching with
going.
purpose.
Sounds good. You are going to have to march right past another group of goons. Let's say like one group's on Manaia and one group's in your way, right? As you sort of land where V was, right? But V has now teleported up to where Oka is. So they will be able to make an opportunity attack against you unless you have something to go against that. Yes, Lyra.
As Dewey walks up to the horde, Manaia is actually going to shout out, "1 second, I'll take care of him." Unless you have another plan.
Did I use an action this turn?
No, you just drop down.
Are there like multiple groups of goons before I make my way?
There's just the one in front of you because your teammates were able to dispatch of like half of them. So it's just like the group of 5 in front of you and the group of 5 on Manaia.
Okay. I'm going to, as I walk past them, I'm going to toss like a little orb at them, and then it's going to explode in a puff of very, very bright light. So they have to make a Constitution saving throw to avoid being blinded by my flashbang.
What's the DC?
15? 15.
Okay, they fail. You toss this little bead that explodes into like a flashbang, right? Maybe you shield your eyes at just the right moment and hear them groan like as what's left of their like orbital stems, right, sort of like fluctuate and like they like instinctively, reactively like raise their hands to like cover like what's left of their face, you know. But like you've successfully blinded this group. Are you gonna like run past them while they've got disadvantage on their attack rolls?
Yeah, I'm just walking past.
Okay, what is your armor class?
17.
Okay, they don't hit because of that. You just sort of like walk calmly. Like, how are you moving past them as they're like swinging and jabbing at you?
As they approach me, I'm just like walking down the middle of this hall, and not even like I notice them and I walk past them and I don't even like turn my head at them. I'm just tossing this thing to my side and walking forward.
Oh, heck yeah. Manaia, V, and probably not Oka because you're distracted. Manaia and V, you notice that there's something like Dewey seems more confident. Dewey seems different. DILF stands for Dewey as card who strives
I'm
more.
logging out of this call.
No!
No!
How dare you sexualize my
here.
pigeon man?
I'm so sorry about that. It does not stand for DILF. Dewey, you continue striding forward as you just like very Matrix moment, right? As like none of the attacks hit you, just continue walking forward, very calmly, like possessed, right, of a sternness that I don't think any of your teammates have seen before toward Bloodthirst and Cain. And as you approach, Bloodthirst and Cain, who are still in the middle of fighting each other, pew, pew, right, just bolts of light and Bloodthirst like dodging it or like using like casting like a shield mechanism to like reflect Cain's attacks. Also like lunging forward with this like striking tail onto Cain, but Cain also rolling and dodging out of the way. Bloodthirst turns in the middle of this battle and sees you. And you see sort of like a predatory smile spread across their like obsidian furred face as just a little bit of recognition sparks in their crimson eyes. Dewey, do you say anything to Bloodthirst?
Do they recognize me? I'm wearing a mask.
Yeah, that is...
Does Cain recognize you by sight, or does Scott and Nectus recognize you as...
I was talking about Bloodthirst specifically.
Oh, Bloodthirst. Okay, never mind.
That is a good point. I think he still would, as he's looking at you, because you're pretty... It's not just... There's not a lot of pigeon, like, dirty Aarakocra artificers that look a lot like you.
Oh, fair.
Cardew, do you say or do anything as there's that moment of recognition in Bloodthirst's face?
I think he expected Bloodthirst to, at some point, notice him, but he's just going to keep on walking wordlessly, and he looks stern because he's wearing a giant mask, but underneath he's just like, sweating profusely.
Okay. Is that the end of your turn?
Yes.
Okay, we are now going to go to Manaia with Oka on deck. Manaia, what do you do?
Okay. So Manaia's a warlock. Worst caster in the game. I get 2 spells a day, and I have used exactly both of them. But Manaia doesn't have a character sheet, just like Oka. She doesn't, and she's a beginner at magic. She doesn't know exactly what her limits are, and maybe she can feel some of the like magical soul tiredness starting to set in a little bit. But she's determined. I'm going to provoke a lot of attacks of opportunity as she's going to barrel through to the center of this horde, maybe just a little bit behind Oka, V, and Dewey. And while she's doing that, she's going to do 2 things. One, coppery scales are going to stitch together some of her wounds as I'm going to roll 1d10 to heal, because I'm under half health. And I'm going to heal 10 HP. Hell yeah. And while she's doing that, she's going to shut all of the attacks that are coming at her out of her mind, and she's going to reach into her soul, and she says, "Princess, I need you."
Manaia, I'm at my limit. I don't have that much to give.
And use me. And I'm going to try to cast Thunderwave.
Okay.
Like a big Thunderwave.
Okay.
Like a big, big, big Thunderwave.
You want it
that
to be...
knocks out as many of these corpses as I possibly can while also providing a speed boost to Oka. And you might want to disable the auto crit there, because I'm taking that shit.
Okay, for the Thunderwave. With great power comes great consequence, Manaia. So are you willing to accept... I'm going to tell you straight up, I won't tell you the details, but it's going to be... You're going to do this awesome thing, but there's something pretty terrible is going to happen to you.
Manaia is a self-sacrificial character.
Okay. You hear the princess go, Manaia, I can't with... Nali, I can't use you too.
Manaia is sitting cross-legged in the middle of this horde and sort of ignoring the princess's warnings, offering her soul to this power.
No, Manaia, stop! don't! And then, poosh. So describe to me what it looks like as you do exactly what you set out to do.
Manaia, like I said, she pushes through the horde. She sits down, calm and serene, facing away from Bloodthirst, and Cain and Oka and V and Dewey. And she closes her eyes, and when they open again, her armband glows, and her eyes glow, and her hair glows green and orange. And maybe she lifts off the ground a little bit as the wind, just like before, compresses, almost sucking in more horde members from the farther reaches of the room, pulling them in, and she's being compressed and hit over and over and over again. And you can resolve that damage later. And all at once, she opens her eyes, and kind of like the finale of Avatar.
The
Spoiler
Avatar
warning.
state, yeah.
Yeah. Like beams of light shoot out of her eyes, and she just explodes with wind and sound power as a cracking sound, almost like we heard during the cataclysm. It resonates throughout the weave, but it isn't quite everywhere and nowhere. It has a source, and it is Manaia.
Okay. A massive wave of force and light boosh, shoots out from Manaia. And Oka and V, it feels like a tidal wave is like a trade wind is gusting under your wings, Oka, as you're propelled forward, right? You're not hurt, but now you're like dive bombing, right, toward the dais, and you're gonna reach it at the top of your turn, right, is what this means. And all the goons around you, just as they are landing blows on you, boosh, are flung backwards. So Manaia, just from the continued blows on you while you were meditating, just take a cool 20 points of damage from that.
20, okay.
Take a
I
cool
expected
20.
more from the attacks of opportunity, but
Oh, don't worry about your consequences. As light shoots out of your eyes, is it your mouth too, just full Avatar state?
no, just
Okay,
eyes.
Great, just your eyes. Boosh. And all of you see these corpses, these zombies fly through the air, bam, their bodies shattering against these pillars and cracking the marble and falling to the ground. And even the pools of blood on the ground poof, are washed away from you. Poof, poof. They splatter up against the walls, up against the pillars, and continue splattering outward against the tiled floor, right? And poof, when this dies down, Manaia, you feel tired, right? So the minor consequence I'm going to impose on you is just a level of exhaustion, right? Just take one level of yep. For physically, right?
Right.
And then, as the weave settles, grows slack around you as this magical wave ceases, you've taken out all the enemies, but you've also taken out something else. There's a hollow in your chest, in your soul. As the Princess of Leaves doesn't seem to be there anymore? Is that the end of your turn, Manaia?
And with that, we cut to break.
Yes, a perfect cut to break. We will be back in 10 minutes. That's it's 4:23 right here, so that'll be 4:33 or so p.m. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's resolve this mini boss fight. The rear guard is coming, but oh boy, Cain and Bloodthirst and Manaia. Ooh, geez, it's gonna be Oka's turn when we come back. We love y'all so much. Enjoy the fan art reel. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for the hype train. We are 3 subs away from our next monologue. I will be back in 10. Love you. Speesh. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Transplanar RPG. It is so good to see all of your digital non-existent faces in the chat. Before we hop back in, here's a reminder of content warnings for this session and our campaign in general. So as a reminder, Transplanar RPG is set in a grim, dark, gritty fantasy world that deals with difficult subjects that are potentially triggering to some viewers. So please take care of yourselves while watching this show. Some content warnings for our campaign in this session may include fantasy violence, mass death, horror, gore, toxic and abusive relationships, guns, natural disasters, alcohol and substance use, addiction, death of loved ones, memory loss, emotional trauma and baggage, self-destructive behavior, bloodletting, cults and cult-like behavior, and anxiety and panic attacks described in detail. So if you ever need a reminder of those content warnings, please use !CW in chat. You can also use !safety in chat for a list of our lines and veils as cast members to know the topics that are definitely off the books for us. So with that out of the way, let's hop right back into the action. Manaia, you feel a pit in your soul, a lack, a missing, where the princess used to be, as just like the last reserves of your warlock magic, right, are just completely sapped out from your like massive thunder wave, right? You don't feel the princess anymore, and your eyes like the light like flickers and then shuts down as you just feel exhaustion sweep over you, cross-legged on the floor. And now we're gonna cut across the battlefield to Oka. You are carrying V in your hands. You're soaring through the air. Like little bits of those like open eyes of the stranger are still like on your wings, and they feel hot, like coals, right? Scorching against your feathers, right? With this black and gold veins trying to seep out and corrupt your entire body and soul, but you're able to fight it back. You're single-minded raging toward this dais. What do?
Oka sees a little feathered guy on the dais, I think, as they're like mapping all things out. And V starts to get like, they're like swooping down, and V is starting to get like heavy. But we're here now. So Oka like swoops down like right at the top step of the dais, and just like, I think V's shoes would like glide across the like stone floor for a second before Oka like lets go. But they keep going. And they keep going, and they full body barrel into Cain.
Okay, you do that. You collide against Cain, right? And the two of you just like hit the ground and you start rolling, right? It's a tangle of limbs and sparking magical power, right? And your wings are just flapping, and like V is no longer on you. What do? Okay. You are muted.
God damn it all. Oka like wraps their wings around Cain, and like is holding onto them like as tightly as they can as they roll down, I guess, like the other side of the dais, until they come to a like quiet stop.
Okay, I just need you to take a little bit of bludgeoning damage.
It'll be halved because I'm raging.
That means I can hit you hard.
No, that's not what it means.
Okay, 6 points of bludgeoning damage total, so 3.
I'm at 30. It's pretty good for me, actually. Okay. So, Oka like sweeps Cain just like right off the top of the platform. And they like, once they're down on the ground and they're not rolling anymore, still kind of like dizzy with all of this like power, like trying to like overwhelm their senses. Their wings kind of just like unfold around the two of them for just a moment.
Cain's face looks up into you, right? It's like, up close, you see that like their body is like spackled with blood. You know, their hands are streaked with it. They smell of gore. Like their wavy blue hair is all tangled around their face. They're drenched in sweat. They don't look great, right? But like their silvery eyes are like locked onto yours, and you see Cain look at you and say, "Oka, what are you? What do you think you're?"
I'm so sorry. And Oka's eyes, the double pupils flick up, like past Cain's face, up to where they can see V, like up on the dais. And they also sort of say, like, the sorry was for both of them, I think, for V and for Cain. As Oka takes the hilt of Dream Hunter and stabs Cain through the center of their chest. calling on that same, like this strange latent energy, right? That's stuck in them, the same way that the stranger pulled Vanash out of Oka's soul. They're trying to use Dream Hunter to shove Scott and Nectis out of Cain and towards V.
Wow, that is really cool. Okay, first of all, have inspiration for that. Second of all, make an attack roll with advantage because you're using knowledge from earlier.
$21.
Okay, that hits. Just roll damage for me because you're stabbing Cain through the chest. So roll damage on that.
13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 because it's not with Culling Edge, it's just with Dream Hunter, but 18 points of damage.
Yowza. Okay. You bury Dream Hunter into Cain's chest all the way up to the hilt, right? And you just sort of see Cain go
and Oka kind of grabs the back of their head and like pulls their, like touches their foreheads to each other.
So this, what you're doing wouldn't work unless the sword you were wielding were A, intensely magical, B, you yourself were intensely magical and God-touched, and C, you knew what you were doing. So I think you fulfilled all three of these requirements. So I think what happens is this. You bury Dream Hunter all the way up to the hilt. You touch your foreheads together. And you push Scott and Nectis outside of Cain's soul. There's an explosion of light out of like Cain's back between their shoulder blades, just like they're a prism, and light is like beaming into them and then getting refracted out the back like as like a rainbow. But instead of like it's like iridescent colors that like fluctuate between shades of red and purple, right? And they're blending together like and they are getting beamed directly at V, who is standing behind Cain, right? But as this happens, all of you hear Scott address Oka. As the red light seems to glow in color and it overtakes the purple, right? And all of you feel the weave just suddenly get very, very, very heavy. Like a bowling ball is being dropped into a net. You feel its presence like drooping in the atmosphere all around you. And Scott just goes, I knew it. You work for the stranger. You are no paragon of anyone's, you little, and like, the red light is so powerful, right? The entire chamber has already been drenched in crimson, but it's now like deep, deep blood red. And now none of you can differentiate between like what your original color of your skin was and the red light all around you. And then cutting through the red is just a beam of purple light, right? As Nectis like rears her presence, and her presence doesn't feel like a heavy bowling ball so much as just like a wind lifting up the net, like from the bottom, like something light and beautiful, but also deeply, deeply powerful. And you all hear Nectis go, darling, no, this is our chance. Please come with me. Our paragon is right there. We have to give her a chance. And V, standing there, this beam of red light shooting out of Cain's back, bing, pierces you through the heart. Just make a charisma saving throw as Nectis enters your soul.
Nat 20.
Hey, baby! That's what I'm talking about!
Okay, V.
When you see a DM, be like, shit.
With a nat 20, Nectis, like a bullet, pierces your heart, enters your soul. You don't even stagger. Tell me how you receive her.
I think V closes her eyes a little bit and like almost like moves her chest towards it. Her arms like spread to the side, and just like the more she takes it, the more it's like her arms just like take to the side. And it's not like she's grimacing as much as I think her face is actually almost like an odd mixture of relief and surprise, I guess, that this is happening to her. I think, yeah, she's just trying to welcome it in, and is just feeling so many different. I think her mind is racing to that imagery she had where they showed Ying, and also like the carnival, and everything is like just sort of rushing in her over her head these last, V's had a rough few weeks, and it's all just like rushing through her, and but in the end she just feels like complete somehow, like it was all worth it in the end.
I love that. Take some inspiration for that. My God, V. Yeah. Images just flash through your mind, right? Of your childhood, right? Jukai, your mother, tales of your father being in this cave, traveling all across Andake, Sievert, Rev, the other PCs around you, and end on an image of a gold-skinned tiefling, right? Standing at like the top of a cliff, right? Wind blowing through their hair, and then they turn around, the black scleras like widening as they see you, V. You're this memory, and they go, so you're my successor then? Listen, here's what you need to and they freeze. As in real life, V standing there with this beam of nectis going into her chest. But Skad lets out this thunderous, no, I refuse, Lover, she's working for the wrong side. This one has a traitor amongst their midst. I'm not going to... As we see Bloodthirst raise their tail, right? This gem glowing, sucking this red light in toward the crimson gem. And all of you see Bloodthirst like fur puffed up, and they're letting out a... Yes! As he goes like fucking Super Saiyan, right? As like, this light gets sucked into this jewel at like the tip of his prosthetic tail, and just blackness sweeps out across the entire chamber, and then slowly all the torches jump back to life. And V, Ying doesn't get to finish their sentence. You're just pulled out of that vision, and I think you stumble backward, V, as you have half a god, right? Half a pair of Skad and Nectis inside you, and standing in front of you. Yes! Oh, what is this? Oh, good. Is Bloodthirst, with Skad inside him. Cain crumples to their knees, unconscious, with Dream Hunter thrust through their chest, and falls into your arms, Oka. What do the four of you do?
I think V does stumble back, and maybe even has to like reach back and like just have put a hand on the dais. She's like, she sees Bloodthirst, and she feels this presence now inside of her, and it's like, oh, must be what Oka feels like. And looks to Bloodthirst and give that back, you son of a bitch.
And V, as you look up, Oka, I guess Manaia wouldn't see this, but Dewey, you're also up there. Oka and Dewey, the two of you will see that V's left eye has changed from green to purple. The entire iris is purple now, right? And V, why don't you describe like a little bit as like light peels off your body, a little bit of the transformation as you have half of Scott and Nexus inside you. What do you look like now as you say this to Bloodthirst and like light begins to beam across your body?
Yeah, I think it's almost as if, you know, when people sometimes when they're under a lot of stress, their hairs can gray, like they get like the streaks. It's almost like that, but like we'll go with like some purple streaks in her hair now, and it's her body just looks different, and her palm, the diamond in her palm seems to be glowing as well. You know, it's emitting purple light, and there's something different about her clothes. You know, before she's no longer has her tie, she no longer has her vest, and she just had like her black dress shirt, but like she had opened it up a little bit, but now it's like closed. It's like almost like she looks like almost like she hasn't been in battle for like the last, you know, however long, you know, in these sewers. It's just she just looks a little bit better about everything, and like just stronger, and you can feel it. Like if you're attuned to the weed, you can feel there's something spinning around her, sort of. And I think she just, if you know how her skin used to have like an iridescence of green, and it looks almost like more scaly in a couple parts, but like softer around her face. But like you can see maybe near her hairline some more like actual, almost looks like dragon scales emerging, and that's where she's at right now in terms of looks.
Wow, hell yes. Because this is half Paragon V moment, I'm going to give you another point of V-spiration for that description. You stand there, the last bits of like a greenish purplish light, right? Nectus's power merging with your own, sparking off your body as this like halfway transformation like takes over you, right? And as you address Bloodthirst, no. Oh, Cain, I can see why you didn't want to let this go. This power is mine now. I can finally do what I've always wanted to do. I'm going to kill her. I'm going to kill Atalanta. And I'm going to become the champion of Raso again. Boosh! And Bloodthirst is just ensconced in this red light. Craters around him, almost like fucking like Iron Man taking off, and just like launches into the goddamn air, and punches a hole through the ceiling with his body, which is like just covered in this like meteor like these red flames, which is literally ridiculous if it weren't also so terrifying.
Okay, Goku.
This cat, Goku's out of here.
This 4 foot tall fucking scourge ass warrior cats, bitch.
I think my favorite power move as a DM is to throw big bads at you, which are just Scourge from Warrior Cats, and you have to fucking take it. And you have to just sit there and take it. And he poof, out of there, right? And the hole in the ceiling cracks, and water, sewer water, starts like spilling through and like flooding the chamber, right? Like a waterfall falling. There's no immediate danger of flooding or drowning here, right, at all, because the chamber is so massive, but this deluge just comes down. Oka, Dewey, and Manaia, how are the three of you reacting?
I think Dewey had like a very serious, like, he was very determined, very serious, and then this shit happens, and he's like, "What?" Like the what? Just staring in disbelief, and also, I mean, now the place is flooding, or like it will at some point.
Yeah, Dewey, you were robbed of your confrontation with Bloodthirst, right? There is business unfinished here. You have not gotten to say your piece to him yet. Sort of stand there as water starts rushing in. Manaia, how are you responding?
Manaia is not perceiving what's going on in this chamber right now. I think for most of this, she's been sitting upright, maybe wavering back and forth just a little bit. Between the level of exhaustion and a piece of what she's gotten used to being her soul now basically gone or inaccessible. After all of this, she falls. She just slumps over onto the ground, and there's a thunk of a flesh on concrete, maybe a splash of blood.
Okay. I really like that, actually. Why don't I take some inspiration for that? Oka, Cain slumped in your arms, sword buried in their chest. What do you do?
Well, that was a little distracting, I think. The god moment, I think Oka, they're like sitting there at the bottom of the dais on the other side, watching in complete horror as Bloodthirst takes God. And their eyes are like wide, the pupils like darting like to the ceiling, to V, and then is that Dewey? And then to Cain, and then up to V. And they just kind of shake their head and they close their eyes. And in that hesitancy, I think the rage falls away. And so do the wings that were kind of like glitching almost with the like strange colors. They just kind of like fade into, like they fold up around them and then fade softly into nothing. And then as the water like comes down, like Oka like opens their eyes again and is like, fuck. Gentle as they can, slide Dream Hunter back out, click it into their back, and they try to cast healing hands on Cain. They like put a hand over that hole in their chest and try to heal them up for as much as possible, which would be 10, technically.
Okay, roll a d20.
What do you mean roll a d20? 14?
Okay. As you put your hands over the hole in Cain's chest, instead of like the usual radiant, boom, like a light that maybe like comes out and like, suffuses the target with like this warm, like healing sensation, your hands like this goldish, blackish, shadowy, like presence, like wraps around your hands, right? Like wisps of smoke, right? Interlaced with like golden veins, right? And what heals Cain are these like shadow wisps, right? Stitched together with this like gold stitching. And you can sort of see like in the wake of this like whole stitching up are these like golden veins that mirror the golden scars on your own chest. And you're struck with how you dealt the same kind of damage to someone that was once dealt to you. So why don't you roll to heal?
It's just 10.
Okay.
It's my level.
Totally.
Ouch. That startles them, I think, and they like look at they like bring their hands back and they look and they are thinking about the very confusing things that Scott said to them and all of the like overwhelming light and power and energy that had been coursing through them, and they have like a fucking god that doesn't belong to them, so they didn't know, I think. And they kind of like try to brush their hands off on their body, like a little bit of terror, and they look up at V again for direction.
V walks over to Oka and it's so funny. She's just like, is there anything I can do for you? We should try to bring Cain out of here.
V. And Oka is, I think, like still kneeling and like looking almost reverently. Like there's a little bit of like mystified fear and also mystified like hope. Like the first time they actually look truly oddly hopeful. And they like reach up. You have to put them back. You have to go get Scott. Please.
And even as Oka says that, there's like a voice of Nectis in the back of V's mind of just like, I need my other half. Sorry, I did that in like a V voice, but yeah, it was just like the voice in the back of her head saying, I need my darling, I need Scott. And V just like looks back at Oka and just like, I know, we've got to go.
Okay. You go. I'll get everyone out. I trust you. We'll catch up.
And then, so with that, V will then, like, I think she kind of crouched and was like, you know, and she stands back up and kind of looks to where they came from and looking around at all of her friends and what direction was Rev, you know, and Aluso, and that's the direction where V would go. Is
Okay.
towards where she heard their voices coming from.
Yes, back toward the entranceway. So maybe this is a good moment. V, as you turn, have this moment with Oka. Manaia is like slumped on the ground. Dewey, you're like shell-shocked on the dais. Turn around, and the four of you here, well, maybe not Manaia if you're out, but at least the three of you here.
Oka! V! Manaia! Dewey!
As Squeak enters the scene, Squeak rushes through this entranceway and pulls to like a startled stop. Her webbed feet like stopping, you know, as she sees blood and corpses and this, right? She sees you and this everywhere. She, you know, on her heels, you see Dr. Luso, Talat, Rev, as well as Xiaohu. They all sort of screech to a stop, right? Behind Squeak, and Squeak just sort of goes,
What happened here? What? Oh no. What? Please, someone tell us. What's going on?
What is Squeak doing here? She's like 6 inches tall.
she's actually, I think I described her as a 3 feet tall.
3 feet.
Yeah, but that's not true, and we all know it. She can fit in she can fit in your hands. Okay, we all know that.
Is it time for a Squeak monologue? Is that what I saw in chat? Or, because I feel like V did like an actual monologue.
Squeak along, squeak along.
Squeak a log, squeak a log, squeak
Okay.
a log.
I think perhaps we will bizarrely end on a Squeak monologue. Or maybe not end, but as Squeak like takes in all of your shocked faces, she goes,
Oh, is that where he went? Bloodthirst?
and she points at the hole in the ceiling that's gushing water.
Yes, that's where Bloodthirst, and he's got Scott.
Squeak, do you have a plan for this?
Don't worry, Dr. Luso. I am a merchant and purveyor of the finest goods in Andake. And so...
She reaches to the pouch of holding strapped to her waist, digs inside, and throws up into the air 2 like glowing red beads that explode outward, and flames wheel out of the beads to form these 2 like flaming dogs, right? Like they look like bloodhounds made of pure fire. As she goes,
Go! Give chase to Bloodthirst!
and
Let's show that cat what these dogs can do!
and the 2 fire dogs, poof, they go poof poof, and they like using like fire step through the air, right? Like where they step, like plates of fire like erupt under their paws, and they like go up and like they run up toward the whole gushing water and disappear through it. And Squeak turns to the four of you and says,
Okay, my hounds should be able to track him down and make sure we don't lose sight of him.
We know where he's going. He's going to kill Atalanta and take the throne of Raso.
What? But how could he have that much power? I mean, I've always known he fences and steals and buys illegally obtained magical goods. He doesn't
has Scod. It doesn't matter.
What? What do you mean? He has... But...
like it's not computing in Squeak's face, and like her like frog-like countenance falls upon you, V, as like she sees like your one purple eye and like a like little bits of like green scales becoming a little bit more prominent.
Wait a minute. Well, you don't mean to tell me that Scott and Nectus got separated?
Nectus decided to enter me, and Scott refused, and Bloodthirst was able to intercept.
Well, shit! That's bad! That's a...
I'm sorry, y'all. It's so hard to monologue dramatically in an Hoo voice. It's almost impossible. Okay, hold on.
That's not good. What time is of the essence here? Manaia! Is she okay? Does she get... Manaia,
And Squeak rushes over to your fallen over form, Manaia. Are you saying like you're unconscious, or did you just like take a knee?
I'd say unconscious, but she might wake up. Who knows?
Okay. Squeak kneels over you, Manaia, and she takes out a tiny little potion of healing and like starts like pouring it into your mouth, right? And as she does, she like addresses the entire room. She says,
in all my life, as a merchant, as a wanderer, as a traveler, when I was an adventurer in my youth, when I was just a frog spawn, I've never seen anything like this before. The gods may be separated.
As she stands up to her full 3 feet and 0 inches and looks at you, V, Manaia, Dewey, and Oka.
But we still have our paragons. You are Andake's greatest hope. Oka, Manaia, Dewey, V, the future of our world, the happiness of our realm, rests in your hands. Please, I give you my webbed hand in aid and in kinship.
And she reaches into her pouch once more and throws like a long ribbon of sparkle dust, like into the air, right? And as this like glitters all around you, the 4 of you get to take ooh, wow, that's a full 12 temporary hit points until your next very long rest. And Manaia, you also regain 6 like actual hit points. And that, as the glitter dust like begins to like settle in the air, I think that's Squeak's monologue.
Why was that so weirdly moving? Okay, kind of behind the dais. Lets the glitter dust settle on them. And then they look up at Dewey. Dewey?
Hi.
Dewey, can you help me carry them? And they look down at Cain.
I guess who's getting Manaia?
The rear guard is here. It'll take all of them to carry her out.
At this point, Manaia coughs Um, and maybe a little bit of the potion mixed with some blood, uh, like splatters out of her mouth. Maybe a little bit on Squeak. Sorry, Squeak. Um, and she starts to sit up. And as she pushes herself up, her arm fails her, and she falls back, and she cries. She's not strong enough.
It's okay, Manaia. Take it easy. Here. I got you.
And with Squeak, you know, like she's tucking her entire bulbous body like under your arm to try to like help you up.
V's gonna go over then and also try to help and take Manaia.
Yeah, I think when Dewey sees Manaia fall back, he automatically goes to her and leaves Cain behind with Oka.
Manaia says, "Oh, thanks, Squeak." She coughs some more, and she looks around. What happened?
A lot happened, Manaia. It's okay. Well, take it easy. We'll fill you in when we get the chance to regroup.
And as you step forward, V, Rev steps forward. You see that she'd like brandished a giant scythe. Was in one hand, but like she lets it go and it just disappears into wisps of like pale smoke, right? And she rushes forward to you, V. V.
Rev, I only have Nectus.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm just glad you're okay. We'll get Bloodthirst. Don't worry.
I'm so glad to see you.
Rev holds you and like pulls you into a big hug, right? And as she like lets go, she looks down at you and she like, you see like her eyes like fall on that one purple eye, right? Like her own mismatched eyes, right? Looking down at you. I never thought I'd see this in my lifetime. Half a paragon.
Half a paragon is better than no paragon.
Is that what they say? Well, Nectus, if you're in there, we'll reunite you with your beloved. Don't worry. What's meant to be will be. And V, I want you to tell me, how does Nectus like surge up in you, right? And what does she say in response to Rev?
It's that feeling whenever V uses magic of like the weave moving through her. It's like, 'cause, you know, sorcerers are very much like things moving through them. V feels it's like this weird uncomfortableness because V's not doing anything, and yet it's moving inside of her, and you just almost out of V's voice comes Nectus's. We've got to stop Bloodthirst. I've got to get Scott back. We've got to be together.
Don't worry, sister. You will. As Rev comes back, right, in control, and I think there's like a moment where you also like snap back in control, and Rev just goes, that's odd. She's never gotten to take the driver's seat like that before. Maybe it's because we're in such close proximity to each other?
This is also very new for me. I don't even know what to think of this.
It's okay, it's okay. We'll figure this out together. We'll find that bastard. We'll kill him. And we'll get Scott out of his body.
We've got to hurry.
And yeah, behind you, you hear a cough as Manaia is maybe being held up by Squeak and who else comes?
Dewey, I think?
And Dewey. Yeah. And she looks down at the water that's assumedly rising from the hole in the ceiling. She goes, "We have to go. Water's rising."
Okay. And I think, like, on that, Dr. Aluso, like, shoves past, like, Rev and V, runs past you, Manaia, and Dewey, and starts, like, sloshing through the water and the blood over the corpses up toward you, Oka. And, like, their glasses are fogged up with, like, sweat, you know? Yes, Oka?
Here's like a sort of out of character question. I'm not gonna be here next week. Do you want us to? I have an idea.
Okay, now is the time to do your idea.
Great. I think as you know, as Manaia coughs for the first time, the squeak moves forward, V moves forward. Dewey comes to help and then immediately turns his attention away. As Dewey turns his back, Oka looks after him frantically. And then all this talk about Scod not being there, what Scod said to them. They look back at their hands, which are still like knitted with gold and shadow. And when Squeak says that we're Andake's last hope, Oka turns away. And when Dr. Eluso crests, kind of like gets to the bottom of the dais, goes up, Oka's on the other side. When they get to the top, they're not there anymore. Neither is Cain. And the invisible Oka has Cain slumped over their shoulders, kind of at a far grate on the other side, and looks back for one moment before they head down the tunnel by themselves.
Wait, where's Oka? Dr. Luso exclaims, like at the top of the dais, like looking around. I don't see them
What do you mean,
anywhere.
where's Oka?
They're not here. I thought I saw them when we came in. I came up here to check on them, but they're not here anymore.
We've got to go. And then like V like kind of like almost like feels a message, but there's like no words to it. She just like has a feeling like Oka will be okay. We just got to get out of here ourselves.
Okay.
They're strong. They'll find us.
And on that, Manaia, Dewey, and V rallying together, right, with the rest of all of your allies and your supporters, Rev, Talat, Dr. Eluso, Squeak, Xiaohu, and Oka slinking off invisible on their own, head hung low, feelings of guilt, shame, insecurity, etc., roiling through their body. We're going to end this episode. Okay, so we will be back with episode 13, I believe, Arc 3, next Saturday, July 31st. We typically have arcs that are about 16 episodes long, so we're nearing like our final arc, like Showdown, right? Episodes like 14, 15.
Wasn't it?
That was the mini boss fight, y'all. That was the mini boss. That was the mini boss. You thought Cain was the big boss? Oh, you thought that was the BBEG? No, my friends.
Manaya's dead. Sorry, I'm just gonna have to leave. Bye, y'all.
Oka's fucking slinking off. Yeah. So we have our next Shoot Your One Shot game, the second to last Shoot Your One Shot game, next Wednesday, July 28th. That is V's, your good friend V. So join us at 6 p.m. US Central Time. We are raising money for all of the BIMPOC who used hashtag BIMPOC Shoot Your Shot at us. So help us pay ourselves and also these amazing QT POC creatives, TTRPG professionals, performers, etc. They are amazing, and we want you to see how amazing they are. Let's support them with our moolah. And with that, I have been Connie Chong, your GM and executive producer, pronouns they, he, and she. You can find me on Twitter, Itch, and Patreon at by Connie Chong. I'm also the GM for this thing. With that, I'm gonna pass along introductions to Lyra.
Hello, everyone. My name's Lyra. I use they, she pronouns. I'm a professional gigging musician and ethnomusicologist. Hire me if you're in the Twin Cities area. I'll play almost any instrument that doesn't require air. Asthma Gang. Join the Discord. DM a mod for that link. And you can sometimes find me on Twitch at Rika Honda. That's Rika, and Honda like the car company. And I always think there's more than this, but there really isn't. So I'll pass introductions to Erica.
Hi everybody, I'm still Erica, she, her pronouns, and I did play Vinox Scherzo. And you can find me here at Erica New Girl. I stream several days a week. Come find me, have a good time. And otherwise, you can find me at Erica New Girl on all social media platforms. I didn't say this earlier, but I've been getting into art recently. So if you check out my socials, you'll see some art I've been doing lately. And yeah, just come have a good time with me. I will pass it on to Max.
Hello, I've been Max. I go by they, them pronouns. I play Return of the Wet-Ass Pigeon, Dewey. Sometimes I tweet. You can find me at Starchmonger on Twitter and also Instagram. Sometimes I also post pictures. I will pass it to C.
Hey y'all, my name is C. I use they, them pronouns. I'm a dancer, digital artist, tabletop streamer, dungeon dramaturg, creative consultant, etc. Et al., as one would say, if you were writing it down. I don't know. You can find me streaming sometimes when I'm not on medical hiatus at pi_sharp. You can also find me on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr at pi_sharp_art. And you will find, what is that? Brand new Paragon V art? Brand new Paragon V art that I am working on right now. So our Discord and my personal art channels will be the first place that you will be able to see that when it becomes live. So consider following, consider sending me a commission if you'd like one. I'd love to do art for more of your tabletop stuff, and I'll pass it back to Connie.
Heck yeah. So with that, we're going to raid Persephoros, who is a black trans streamer. She is currently playing Pokemon. I think Ruby, but I'm not entirely sure. It's a lot of fun. Toss her a follow if you're not following her already. Platinum. Okay, thank you. Yes, Platinum. Thank you all so much for everyone who tuned in. We appreciate your presence. We appreciate the energy you gave. Yes, the chats, the Squeak Champ, Frog Champ, Pog Frog. Thank you for dropping those in chat. I really struggled with Squeak's monologue, but I will nail it next time because there will be a next time for our Arc 8 finale. Our big entire show finale is going to hinge on a Squeak monologue. I'm calling you right now.
Paragon of the Stranger.
Oh my god, stop! Don't put it out there. I may or may not write that down. We love y'all so much. We see you on Wednesday and then next Saturday. Thank you for supporting us. Peace. Stick around for the raid.
Peace.